So the topic that I would be talking about is learning interpretation of patients' symptoms and signs with the investigative tools.
Not moving.
You can click on the slide itself.
Yes, yes. What is so different about ophthalmology? The basic examination itself needs instruments and machines to understand the patient's condition, and learning to handle the instrument the right way is one thing, and interpretation is the next big thing. The key, based on the ICO curriculum, the core competencies, they revolve around patient care, medical knowledge, practice-based learning and improvement, communication skills, professionalism, and system-based practice. The importance of history taking cannot be emphasized more. History taking is no different from other specialities. The chief complaints for which the patient presents should be noted down in a chronological order. And then we move on to the history of the, elaborate the history of presenting illness, and significant past history is noted. Then the medical history, more important in the management of the condition, family history, especially in certain conditions like glaucoma, relevant personal history, and the resident should not forget to take this history of wearing glasses. So besides the common investigative tools which are useful regardless of the subspecialty, which the resident has to know the principles and the mechanisms and demonstrate the use, are the slit lamp biomicroscope, direct and indirect ophthalmoscope, retinoscope, keratometer, Hess screen, color vision charts, and the trainee should also be able to perform and interpret lensometer, autorefractometer, phoropter, corneal topography, ultrasonography of the eye and orbit, and should know when to order for a CT, MRI, and angiography. We'll start off with the cataract and the lens, which is the bread and butter of ophthalmology. The trainer should ensure that the trainee knows the basic history and examination steps for preoperative cataract evaluation, about PCO evaluation. For example, in PCO, should dilate the eye and look for, know the grade of the PCO, the type of PCO, look at the fundus to rule out cystoid macular edema and retinal detachment before planning for a YAG capsulotomy. The trainee should know the basics of IOL power estimation, the regression, the old regression formulas, the theoretical formulas, and the newer formulas too. The trainee should know the methods to estimate the axial length by contact ultrasound, immersion ultrasound, and optical biometer, and should know the properties of different OVDs like dispersive, cohesive, adaptive, and in which phases of surgery to utilize them, and should know the advantages and disadvantages. Should also know the fluid dynamics in phacoemulsification and the phaco techniques, which is the state-of-the-art surgery. And in addition, should be able to recognize common postoperative complications of cataract surgery, the techniques to manage a small pupil, techniques to diagnose post-polar cataract, and techniques for prevention of PCO and phimosis, including the use of CTR. Besides this, the trainee should note the indications and options for astigmatism management during cataract surgery, like on-axis incision, LRI, opposite clear corneal incision, toric IOL, and options for presbyopic correction solutions during cataract surgery, like monovision, multifocal IOLs, and accommodative IOLs. Besides that, the trainee should also know the mechanisms, actions, indications, contraindications, advantages and disadvantages of premium IOLs, should be able to evaluate for IOL complications, and also should know the what are the lens-based solutions for myopia. Regarding contact lens, the trainee should be able to perform a basic contact lens history, and should be able to do a basic clinical examination oriented for contact lens fitting. Very important is to know to insert and remove a trial soft contact lens. Moving on to cornea and external diseases, the cognitive skills that the trainee should have should be able to recognize corneal and conjunctival inflammations and infections, the bacterial and fungal corneal ulcer, the lid margin disease, understand the basic differential diagnosis of red eye, recognize the basic presentations of ocular allergy, and also know the symptoms, signs, testing, and evaluation for dry eye, the etiologies for SPK, recognize corneal lacerations, anti-segment trauma, corneal and conjunctival foreign bodies, and then common benign and malignant lid lesions, including pigmented lesions of the conjunctiva and lid. The technical skills that the trainee should develop should be able to perform an external examination, illuminated and magnified, and slit lamp biomicroscopy, including drawing of the very important anti-segment findings, the slit diagram, and should be able to administer topical anesthesia as well as special topical stains of the cornea, like fluorescent dye, rose bengal, and lissamine green, and perform the tests for dry eye like Schirmer's, T-Butt, and dye disappearance test. The other technical skills are being able to check for corneal sensation and perform the techniques of sampling for viral, bacterial, fungal infections with corneal scraping. And for the fellow, the advanced techniques like topography, endothelial cell count, evaluation, specular microscopy, and pachymetry. With regard to retinoscopy, the trainee should be able to perform objective and subjective refraction, including cross-cylinder and Birth 4-dot test, and use the lensometer to measure spectacle power. In refractive surgery, the should understand the patient's expectations, the social history, medical history, pertinent ocular history, and should be able to check for the uncorrected manifest cycloplegic visual acuity, measure the intraocular pressure by GAT and ocular response analyzer if available, the white-to-white diameter measurement using calipers, should diagnose and manage dry eye prior to surgery, and should be able to use the corneal topographer, aberrometer, pupillometry, and OCT. Moving on to glaucoma, the trainee should be able to take a relevant patient history and recognize the signs of glaucoma, though there are not many symptoms for glaucoma, should be able to perform a basic slit lamp biomicroscopy, checking for peripheral antechamber depth using the Van Herrick test, perform basic tonometry, applanation, and use of the handheld tonometers like Perkins, TonoPen, and iCare. And should be able to recognize the artifacts of during tonometry, and very important, should know to disinfect tonometer and check calibration. Besides this, should be able to do the basic gonioscopy with Goldman and indentation lenses, recognize and evaluate angle structures, abnormalities, and oppositional and cynical angle closure, perform central corneal pachymetry and relate to the IOP findings, and perform a stereoscopic examination, especially with the 90 diopter lens. The optic disc examination, the typical features to be looked for, the trainee should develop these skills, looking for the neuroretinal rim changes, the retinal nerve fiber layer defects, disc hemorrhage, peripapillary atrophy, and assessing the disc size too. And also know the slit lamp findings of secondary glaucomas such as eyes syndrome, pigment dispersion syndrome, exfoliation syndrome, and angle recession. The trainee also should know to interpret visual fields results with Humphrey or Octopus, whichever is available in the institute, and should know the strategies that are used, and with regard to the bleb, should know to look for a leaking bleb using the Siedel's method, should be able to test for RAPD to recognize asymmetric glaucoma, then other ocular emergencies of like acute angle closure, blebitis, and bleb-associated endophthalmitis. And this is also important. The trainee should know to apply the results of major clinical trials in glaucoma to clinical practice, and should know the principles involved in determining glaucomatous progression, both clinically and perimetrically. Should also know the tools and techniques for quantitative anti-segment imaging, such as UBM and ASOCT, and should know well about OCT in glaucoma, the protocols, RNFL, central macular thickness, GC-IPL, and know all the parameters for diagnosis and interpretation and for determining progression.
Yes, just one comment.
Yes, ma'am. Hello.
Please continue, ma'am.
Can I proceed? Yeah. Moving on to neuro-ophthalmology, the technical skills are which the trainee should be able to know and perform are the basic visual function tests such as color vision testing, Amsler's grid, photo stress test, contrast sensitivity test. Should be able to perform a basic pupillary examination and a basic pharmacologic pupillary testing for Horner syndrome, pharmacologic dilation, and tonic pupil. Should be able to detect RAPD and light near dissociation and perform a complete evaluation of the major oculomotor systems such as the third, fourth, and sixth nerve, and also the other cranial nerves. In vitreoretina, the resident should be well versed with to perform slit lamp biomicroscopy with 90D and digital wide field lens. Should be able to perform indirect ophthalmoscopy with and without scleral indentation. And should be able to identify retinal breaks, holes, lattices, and the extent of retinal detachment. Should know to diagnose the presence of pigment granules in the anterior vitreous, the Schaeffer's sign, the PVR changes in RD, and should know the indications for and interpret OCT findings, interpret FFA and ICG angiography. Should know to perform the fundus drawings in the Amsler's chart, very important, with the color coding, and should know to interpret regmatogenous RD, tractional RD, PVDs, choroidal detachment for an intraocular foreign body in ultrasound B scan, and should know the indications for and interpret the basic electrophysiological tests such as ERG, EOG, and VP. In uveitis, the trainee should know to recognize and evaluate the typical demographic features and differential diagnosis of uveitis common in the region via history taking, clinical examination, and the investigative tools. Should know to diagnose the masquerades and evaluate the common complications of common uveitis syndromes such as glaucoma, cataract, band keratopathy, and macular edema. In pediatric ophthalmology, should know the basic visual development and visual assessment of children like fixation pattern, the CSM, the preferential looking tests like teller acuity and or Cardiff acuity cards, matching card tests like HOTV or LIA symbols, recognition acuity and crowding using standard vision testing, and then perform cycloplegic retinoscopy in children using loose lenses, the lens stick or the phoropter, depending on the age of the child and availability of the devices in the clinic. In strabismus, the trainee should know to assess ocular motility using ductions and version testing, apply Herring's and Sherrington's law, perform basic measurements of strabismus like Hirschberg's cover-uncover test, Krimsky test, prism cover test, perform and interpret diplopia and Hess charting, perform force duction test and force generation test, perform more advanced strabismus testing such as the Park's Belchowski three-step test, double Maddox rod testing, and measurement of DVD. These are more for the fellows in pediatric ophthal to measure the to measure the fusional amplitudes, AC by A ratio, the stereo acuity testing, and tests of binocularity and retinal correspondence, and then understand the working of the synoptophore and its uses. In orbit and oculoplasty, the trainee should be able to perform the basic office examination techniques for the most common eyelid abnormalities, like the MRD, palpebral fissure height, levator function, lag of thalamus, lid crease, lid laxity assessment, brow height, dermatocalcusus, and double eversion. For lacrimal abnormalities, Jones test, punctal position, punctal dilation, canalicular probing, lacrimal probing, and irrigation. For orbital abnormalities like Hertel measurement, inspection, palpation, and auscultation, and socket assessment like types of implants, implant movement, socket health, socket volume, furnaces, prosthetic type, and fit. So,
sorry, Subhashini madam, we have 3 more speakers.
yeah.
If we can just
Yes,
summarize.
I'm just summarizing. So to conclude, these are some the most important essential features that the trainer has to ensure that our postgraduates and fellows learn when they step out, so that they step out confidently in institutional practice, group practice, or private practice.